Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Diatone GT-R530. Now, that name may sound familiar, however, this copter looks completely different than anything that I have seen before. And the name is familiar because Diatone released a copter called the GT-R530 already, and it was this one, and it was based around the Floss 2 frame. And I think what happened with this is they used these Mamba ESCs here, so a very skinny ESC, and they were having problems with them. They just couldn't hack the amps and they were going up in smoke, and I found that in my testing, and same with the GTM model as well. So they did actually release this copter, but I think anybody who bought one and had problems with the ESCs, they sorted it out for them and switched out to a 4-in-1, and that is what we have on this model here. So we now have 40 amp BL Halley SD Shot 600 ESCs, so they're not BL Halley 32, and when I asked them why that was, it was to keep the cost low. And the motors are Diatone's own, and they are the same as before, so a 2306 2450 kV motor, Edge Racing, they're a Sunny Sky motor, and we've got the hollow shaft there, and it is a C-clip underneath. I prefer a hex screw, but it's a small thing there. And yeah, we've got this different top plate here, and can you see it says GT Rabbit, so now R is standing for Rabbit. I'm not too keen on the name, however this looks like it's going to be an absolute beast, and you know, they've been refining this system in here, which I will talk about a bit more. So yeah, I think it's a shame about the name, but I think it's a really nice package, and you know, I'll link it in the below so you can take a look at it yourself. And I think the frame is actually the same, so if I take a look underneath here, we've got this plate here that's the same, and I think the arms, they look the same anyways. So yeah, we've got this different top plate here, and they actually provide STL files for these canopies as well, so you know, you can do away with this. I've seen this as a popular thing, so there's various different canopies. I don't think this one's going to fit, because on this model and also this one that was sent out, can you see we've got some 3D printed parts here, and we've got some low ESR capacitors on there to deal with the back EMF, so I really like how that is part of the frame. And this is something that Diatone has been working on, is to get rid of noise. The flight controller is the Fury F3, so Diatone's own. It's running Betaflight version 3.3, and again I asked them why it's not an F4, and they said it's to keep the cost low, because you know, the main star of this package is the fact that it's using the Unify here, so it goes all the way up to 800 milliwatts. It's on its own separate board, so we've got a buzzer on there, but we've also got some filtering here and some components and some RF shielding. You know, one of the problems that these initial prototypes had is that there was a lot of video noise coming through to the VTX, and they've done all of this work and now you don't get that. So for me, that is what makes this a great buy, is the fact that we've got this powerful VTX and it has no noise whatsoever. I don't like the fact that we've got this coax coming around here on the bottom. I would prefer it having it up the top here, because you know, it just really gets in the way, but it's a small thing, I guess. So yeah, it's a plug and fly, this one. So it comes with this Jst connector here, and I have just plugged it into a XM Plus receiver here. It's actually got individual servo connectors on the end there, so might be tricky to see on the camera, but I've just got that plugged in, and these are my cable ties, and I've got the antennas coming up the top there. But there is a 3 volt and a ppm in there as well if you want different receiver options. It was set up really nicely. There was just a couple of things that I needed to do, so I think I had to put my modes in there. I've switched the on-screen display around as well, but it does seem to have custom PIDs and custom rates. I've changed the rates on here, but it had air mode in there, anti-gravity and dynamic filters. So, you know, if it flies as good as this one did, then I think, you know, it's really going to be worth buying into. You are not given this antenna here, so this is a TBS Triumph. So instead, you're given a on-way whip antenna, you know, which I'm not too much of a fan of, so I'm going to be using this. And you have to use a long one so that it can get good reception coming out of the video, you know, so you want that sticking up there. Now, another thing I've had to do is use a different battery strap. I think because they've crammed this 4-in-1 in here, and it originally wasn't designed for that. There was more space, and they give you these straps here, can you see? Like these cloth straps, and they're a bit too thick, so I fed that back, and hopefully we're going to see a change with that. The camera up the front is a Runcam Micro Swift. I think it is the V1, which is fine because we've got Betaflight on-screen display on here anyways. Got a good quality Jst connector out the back. I think there's an LED board that shines through this plastic here as well. I think there's a current meter on board as well, so yeah, it's a really nice package. Let's see what else is in here. So we've got some cable ties, we've got 2 of these straps, but as I say, I think they're probably going to change that. We've got a bunch of these cables, so spare cables there and more spare cables. You're also given a silicone mat which fits this copter fine. You can see the screws line up there, so we shouldn't get any battery slings. It did come with the Gemfan 5042 props, which is a low pitch prop for a race frame like this. So yeah, it's a stretched X frame. And when I asked them about that, they said, you know, it's really for beginners so that they don't have too much power. But I've stuck on a Dell Cyclone. This is the 5046, going to be much more suited to this motor, I think. But yeah, it comes in the usual Diatone packaging here. You get your stickers and things, but yeah, these are the props that it comes with. So the 5042 clear flash. Yeah, I think if you used a 4S battery, then those would over rev, so that's why I've stuck these higher pitched ones on there. But yeah, it seems like a really nice copter. Now they've ironed out all of the issues, so let's get and take it for a fly and see how it performs. Well, I'm gonna do a line of sight video today just because I want to. This is a 1300 milliamp 4S, which I think it's actually designed for. Just in angle mode here. So the weight is 321 grams like this, which isn't a lightweight, but not heavy either. And they are saying to just run it off a 4S because 5S is too much, and I agree. Ooh, that's tasty. It's been a while since I've done line of sight actually. But that power delivery, it feels really smooth. And when I flew the other versions of this, it was the same, just really smooth flying. And if that's the case, there's no need for an F4 really, is there, if it flies nice? I think the price is pretty nice for what you get. You know, they've put a lot of development specifically into that Unify to get the video clean. And that's the most impressive thing for me. Alrighty. Let's try a punch. Ooh, it's been a while since I've done one of them line of sight, to be honest. But it still shocks me when you just see something move so fast like that. I think I said it before, it's like when you see those UFO videos and some object just moves way quicker than you are expecting it to. Man, I miss flying line of sight. Yeah, it seems to be flying nicely. Not seeing any twitches, vibration seems really smooth. Another reason for going with the F3, just less complications. And so far, so good. Right. Just like to flick it into angle mode, see if we've got any movement, because it usually shows whether we've got noise in there, and that thing is just absolutely solid, isn't it? Not moving anywhere. Not loud on these props. I imagine it'd be louder on the stock props. Right, let's bring it in. Okay, let's take a look at some DVR footage. So this flight was done with a Tattoo R-Line 550 mAh 4S battery. So let's take a look at a speed run. So that's 97 mph on the first run, so it's looking pretty good. So it's performing about the same as the HCL-RC Batman 220. And again, we've got 97 mph, so yeah, this is a fast machine, and you have to remember that these are not the most extreme props that could go on this motor. So a 5046, I reckon you could break 100 mph if you stuck on a 5050 or a 5150 or something like that. So yeah, it's a top performer, and it's actually cheaper than the Batman as well. Not quite as fast as the Emax Hawk 5, but you know, it flew really nice. It's flying nice and smooth. I didn't feel like I needed to make any changes to the tune, and this was actually a windy day as well, you know, and it's overcast as well. So yeah, pretty impressed with this package, I have to say. One thing I did notice is that the voltage scaling was just slightly out by a couple of points, so that really needs to be calibrated. This is a prototype, of course, and if we take a look at the current meter as well, it's only going up to about 50 amps, and at the end of this flight I think it was only showing 1000 milliamps, so I think the current meter is out by quite a bit as well, so that needs calibrating. But you know, maybe when Diatone see this video, they'll make a couple of changes, because they seem to be doing that anytime I sort of mention anything. Someone gets a version of it and all of a sudden, you know, that thing is fixed. But you can see actually we have got the current meter flashing already at 700 milliamps, and so I didn't change anything there, so it just needs going into the on-screen display and changing the battery capacity to something higher. For some reason in this version of Betaflight, there's two places where you can change the amp draw, and that's in the battery power meter part and then the on-screen display. So no idea why there are two there in this version. But yeah, it flies nice. There's no audio that has been set up on this one, so that's something important to note. And with this battery, yeah, it's amp hungry, so just over a 3-minute flight time. And I will link it in the below. I believe the Banggood pictures are of the old top, but I'm told that you will get the new version if you buy from Banggood, and of course Diatone's own website, you'll get the latest one. So as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.